Emmanuel, thanks for coming down.
No worries.
How did you get started in property?
So I first got started when I was working at Lloyds Banking Group. I was working there. They had
Scam.
I wouldn't call it a scam, but basically I was working there. I did what you call a degree apprenticeship. So similar to many people, what a lot of people don't know, the government will actually pay for you to go to university, and they also pay you a salary at the same time.
Nice.
With that money that I saved up, I was able to put a deposit down on a house.
What made you want to buy a house so bad? Most people would have spent that on lots of other things.
No, I understand. It's just renting. I just thought I was losing a lot of money that way. I wanted to build sort of wealth, generational wealth.
And how old were you, like 20?
I was 21. I was 20 when I first bought my property.
Just at a young age.
Yeah, very young.
So you must be quite a smart person to be working at Lloyds Bank, at uni. What were you studying?
I was studying computer science.
Okay. So no one gave you like a handout for that first house?
No. It was all myself. It was all hard work. Prior to that, I was working all my life. I had different jobs, different hard working jobs.
Because the average age to get a house is like in their 30s now.
Yeah.
So you buying a house at 20?
Yeah.
That's kind of...
I think it was just leveraging what I knew at the time. And sort of not having that student debt at the same time, earning a decent salary from a young age, and instead of spending all that money, sort of investing in it and thinking, let me just buy my first house, basically. So.
And you've gone on to obviously build a nice portfolio.
That's correct.
And you've done ridiculously well, and you're now, what, 20, you just turned 24?
Yeah, I just turned 24, yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so that first house then, what happened next?
So I bought that first house, I bought it was fine, I was living in it. It was up in Manchester, it was great, but I wanted to sort of get a lot more properties, but the barrier or certain things that were stopping me was finances, for example. So I just came down to the crash course because obviously I had sort of plans of sort of investing in property, and I saw that you advertise sort of no money down deals, getting involved in property with no finance available. So I thought, let me just come down, explore, see what I can actually do. It was funny because that day I actually just had a tracksuit on me and I had to borrow one of my brother's tops just to make sure I could look smart, look presentable.
But you're a banker.
I know, but I didn't plan to come down to this, you know what I mean? I just,
Oh, right, yeah.
I wanted to look more presentable. I just thought, nah, tracksuit wouldn't cut it. I was like shouting at my brother. And I still got the picture to my phone the first time I met you. We took the selfie, and then here we are now, which is amazing. But I came down, listened to what you said, and then I noticed I had a lot of equity in my property right now. So I just thought I could use that sort of money sort of to scale up rather than paying these huge down payments on my mortgage. I can sort of refinance and then build up my portfolio that way and make a lot more money.
So you learned about the BRR.
Exactly.
The BRR strategy.
That's the only strategy I do now to this day. That's my main focus in terms of investing.
So talk to me about what BRR is. How does it work?
So I buy a rundown property. I do it up, renovate it. I refinance it, pull most of, if not all, the equity out, and then I just rent it out straight after.
So you're like recycling cash?
Exactly. So people think you need a lot of money, but you're actually just recycling your money.
What happened with your job at Lloyds?
So last year, around June, so it's actually going to be a week anniversary soon, I was made redundant from Lloyds Bank.
Why did they make you redundant? Was you not doing a good job?
Nah, I always do a great job. It was a whole sort of restructure, and then my role didn't exist anymore. So
you know they've closed in Beaconsfield.
Yep.
Lloyds Bank are literally closing down their bank in the high street.
Yeah, okay.
They're like taking out banks from high streets. It's not necessary though.
No, it's unfortunate because it means people are then going to lose jobs, which is a sad. And if you haven't got sort of like the entrepreneurial spirit to sort of get up on your feet.
Look how many people in 2020 lost their jobs. Good, like Lawton. Lawton Hotwood, super smart guy, working in a good job, paid well, lost it in lockdown, and then all these people then come to my courses, and then end up, it kind of works out well.
You can't just sit on your thumbs. I mean, you've got to sort of do something.
Well, looking back in hindsight, are you glad you lost your job?
Yes, because I don't think I would have the courage to leave. I think I was very comfortable. I think stability was very important for me, and especially from my background, my parents sort of wanted me always to have a job. I mean, my brother's got a really good, high-paid job, so I was supposed to sort of just follow in that steps, be an investment banker or have this high-paid job as people see it. So that's
sometimes
why
when you have a plan, God has another plan.
Exactly. No, I agree. Definitely.
Okay, so you got made redundant in, when was that?
Last year,
2021.
Yeah, correct.
You learned about you did some training with myself.
Yes.
You went on the deal selling masterclass. You're now on our mastermind.
Correct, that's correct.
Whatever, which is great. So what have you done since? Like how many houses do you currently own?
So I currently have five houses right now. I'm on our way to getting the sixth one, which is...
And you're 24?
Yeah, I'm 24, correct.
My guy, that's good though, bro. That's seriously good. And you're making a decent income from that.
Very, very decent income. And what I like about this sort of strategy, it's completely hands-off for myself once I...
And we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Sorted. So it just gives me time to, like I said, I'm on the development mastermind now. It just gives me time to focus more on development time. And at the end of the day, I want time more than money. So if I can just free up my time, it's more important to me than having all the money in the world.
Yeah.
So with this, it just works perfectly for me.
Where are your houses?
So they're all based up north and northwest, predominantly Manchester, Burnley, Blackburn, Accrington, that sort of area.
And where do you live?
I live I live in Manchester and London, between the both. So I grew up in London, went to university in Manchester, and sort of built my portfolio based up north in the northwest. The reason I did that because it was more accessible in terms of lower barriers to entry in terms of how much finance you need to put in, and because I just knew the area because I went to university there. I studied computer science, so I didn't do nothing related to my degree, which is unfortunate. Nothing related to my.
So often that
happens all the time.
I was at a program yesterday. There was about 300 people in the room, and I said to everybody, "Put your hand up if you went to university." Yeah. And probably, I don't know, 60% of the hands went up. Yeah. I said, keep your hand raised if you're currently in a job that has nothing to do with your uni. Everyone's hand pretty much still was raised. It's crazy. And I remember you had to shoot off early at one of our programs because you were getting your graduation.
So I had to go up to my graduation for one of the. So it was a 2-day event. When the second day, unfortunately, I had my graduation.
But you came back, so it's all good.
I came back, of course. Definitely.
What did you get? What did you get in uni?
I got 2-1. I got 2-1. Yeah, I got 2-1.
I don't know what that means, but I think it's good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so you go first, 2-1, 2-2, and then the third.
Nice.
So I got one below the highest possible.
So you're smart. Yeah. You got made redundant. Yeah. You finished your uni studies.
Correct.
You bought your first house from a hustle and savings.
Definitely. When I first got the mortgage, it was 0.1%, but I know it has risen a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know it's not been that low for over 400 years?
I know. So everything just happened at the right time for me.
Yeah, it does, man. God's favour, man.
Definitely.
So you learn about this whole BRR recycling, you refinance. So that first house that you bought, how much did you pay for it?
109,000.
109,000,
yeah.
And then how much did it go up to?
It's worth 180,000 now.
So it went up by 71 grand.
Correct.
And then you just refinanced it, pulled equity out, put that as next deposit. What was the next house that you bought?
The next house I bought was in Accrington.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cheap area.
Cheap area. That was bought off auction, and that was bought for 56 grand.
56?
Yeah, correct.
How much did you spend on it?
I spent about 51 on it as well.
Okay, so in total you're talking about 107? Yeah. Did you pay stamp duty or did you not have to pay it because of the rundown?
We had to pay it, but we're in the process of reclaiming that back.
Cool.
That's one thing I also learned as well from the network I've built is that you can actually get stamp duty back from properties that are in a terrible state on back.
How long do you have to claim it back?
I think it's about, there's 2 years and 5 years, so it's different procedures for each time.
Some people don't understand this.
Yeah.
Some of the people that come to my courses that are already in property are like, damn, I can claim all this back.
Yeah, correct.
So, okay, and then what, so you bought it for about 57?
Yeah.
You spent 51 on it?
Yeah, 51 on it.
And then what was the revalue?
The revalue came back at 150. It came back 150. No, 150 or 135, I'm not too sure.
Oh, because you've done so many deals now.
Yeah. I can't remember
but the basic essence is you push the value up.
Exactly.
And then you refinance it at the new value, pull out the majority of your funds.
From what I remember, we only left around 7 grand in the deal.
Yeah.
Around about 7 grand. So based on in like 6 months or in a year's time, that would be basically back in.
Yeah, and then you can just keep recycling your deposit again and again. Talk to me about, because I did a video about this recently, it's good to have you on the channel, about who your tenants are and how much rent and profit you're making.
Okay, so basically, I wanted to free up my time, like I mentioned earlier. So I didn't want to sort of put my house on the private rented market because it just comes with headaches. And I know if a boiler breaking down or something could wipe out like a year or a couple months profit. Yeah. So what I decided to go is go down the social housing route, which is basically give your property to a housing association. They pay you to do a fixed rent for around 5 to 7 years, and it's completely hands off. Basically, any problems in the property, they will take care of it. They'll manage everything, and they'll only call your phone if there's any structural issues with the property. So
if the boiler breaks, they'll fix it?
They'll fix it, everything.
If the tenant breaks their window, they'll fix it?
They'll fix it, yeah, they'll fix it.
And what happens if they don't pay you the rent? Or they have to?
They have to, yeah. It's all in the contract at the end of the day, yeah, they will have to. And even like, say for example, during the pandemic, they will still pay, whereas some tenants had rights not to pay.
So how much rent are you getting for these houses?
So for the housing association I go with, it's a bit less than the private rented market, but you have to sort of take in consideration that it's completely hands off and you haven't got to pay for any sort of problems in the house. So it's a bit less, but it's still a good turnaround. So for example, a 4-bed HMO will get you around maybe the 1,000, 1.2 mark, which isn't too bad. If you you ain't got to pay no bills, you haven't got to pay for nothing breaking down. It's just net profit, 1.2. Yeah.
What are the pros and cons of housing associations versus running it yourself and running it as a HMO or something?
The pros of housing association is like completely hands off. You're going to get that guaranteed rent. There's no problems. It's quite straightforward. It's all in the contract. The cons, like I said, is the rent is a little bit reduced, but you have to compromise at the end of the day. They're taking all the stress off you and you're freeing up your time. So for that little bit of pricing difference, I think it is a pro because it just frees up my time to do whatever I want, basically.
Yeah.
So
make this passive income.
Passive, yeah, exactly.
Passive
exactly.
income. So what have been some of the biggest challenges building, because now you're full-time property.
Yeah.
You don't have a job anymore.
No, I don't have a job.
You're financially free.
Correct, yeah.
What sort of income are you making at the moment?
So around $3,000, but once all my projects are done, it'll be around the $5,000 a month mark.
So good.
Yeah.
And that's passive.
Passive, yeah.
And you've built that up from nothing.
Correct.
And you're like literally just turned 24.
Correct.
That's incredible. So what would you say have been some of the biggest challenges? Were there any times when you wanted to quit?
Challenges, I think it's the whole building phase in terms of getting builders in, getting quotes.
Right.
Because coming in, I haven't got sort of like a property background, so understanding, walking into property and knowing how much sort of refurb is going to cost and finding the right tradesman and the right build team, I think that was sort of my big hurdle I had to come across. I think, but over time, I just got better understanding how much a damp-proof course would, how much a new roof will cost, all these different things. So I think you just pick it up as time goes on. But that was definitely one of my biggest obstacles when starting, to be honest. Yeah.
Have you done any other strategies, or have you literally just done this
Just
BRR?
The reason why I like the BRR so much is because you could do the standard buy-to-let, but it's just pulling this equity up. It's the reason why I've been able to get so many with such a quick time, because I don't want to be leaving 25% equity in houses all the time.
No, of course not. Have you sold any deals?
Yes, I have sold some deals as well, so I've done that as well. I went on your deal selling masterclass. I understood how to sort of package deals and sell it off to sort of investors. So I sold a deal. I did one recently. I sold a house in Liverpool. I sold that for $2,000. I co-deal sourced on that one, so I split the profits with the person that was actually sort of managing it for me, because at the same time, I wanted to sort of still carry on with what I'm doing on the side and just ensure I can still deal. So, because when deals come to me, and a lot of estate agents come to me, instead of me sort of saying, no, I don't want to buy it. Yeah, it's just a smart way of sort of producing more income.
100. And we spoke about this. I mean, there's a difference between an active deal sourcer and a passive deal sourcer. You're a passive deal sourcer. So you're the kind of guy, you want to build your own portfolio. But if you're looking out for houses for yourself, you're going to come across some houses that don't quite work for you. So rather than flushing them down the toilet and saying, no thanks, you may as well sell them. The training was only 2,000.
Yeah, correct.
So one deal and it's made it back, and then you've got that string to your bow. So what's next then for you? What are you doing now?
What's next? Development. That's my goal. That's where I want to project myself. Yeah. And I have signed up to I came to your one-day development crash course, and then I signed on again to the development deep dive, which was a more in-depth 2-day understanding of development. And I got
I was at my house.
Yeah, correct. So I got to come to your house as well, and then I signed up because I got so much value from it, and I knew that this is something I really wanted to do, and I knew if I took action, I'd be able to get results, because I've seen other people do it within your group. So I said, let me sign up to the development mastermind, and I'm on that right now. It's amazing. I get amazing support from the teachers, and it's just great overall, basically.
That's good, man. I appreciate you saying that. How can you justify investing thousands and thousands constantly in yourself?
Because what I said is, people can spend this much to go to university and then end up not using their degree. If you really want to do something, you shouldn't let the finances hold you back. Especially if you know you're going to make that money from maybe 1 or 2 deals, then it's just the best investment you can make. And if you don't put the training in, there's a lot of mistakes you can make that you don't understand. That will cost you a lot more than you'd rather just going with the training. With the training, it just helps you build a network and a group of people that can support you on your journey at the same time, which I think is even value for money. If you have someone that can mentor you and show you, that alone is huge value that people don't understand. Yeah. And it's just find these right people, and you only find these people when you see that they're doing things that you want to do. So you won't just find them on the street. They need to be in the same areas as you, or looking for the same things as you. And you tend to find them on property courses and your sort of courses, and they tend to be open to help and willing to help, which is something I noticed. Kind of like a community and family where you can go together and ask people, and even joint venture with people, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's right, man. So what's been the biggest takeaway, would you say, from your experience of everything you've built? You're 24, you're just buying your 6th house at the moment. What's been, would you say, if you were speaking to your 2-year younger self when you were there at Lloyd's, you know, just getting your first house, what would you say to yourself?
Honestly, I'd say, because I've been meaning to do it for a long time, but it wasn't until I was made redundant until I went full time. I don't think I would have quit my job So what I'd say, I think procrastination is definitely the biggest dream killer. I feel like a lot of us, because I'm a Christian, I feel like God all gave us a purpose. And I feel like it's our sort of understanding to sort of execute this purpose. What you find out is a lot of people do things that you want to do, and you wake up and you think, oh no, they stole my idea. Not that they stole your idea, it's just God gave everyone a plan and they just managed to execute it first.
Yeah.
So a passage I look at is in the Book of Solomon. God appeared to him in a dream and just asked him, oh, what do you want? He gave him a big piece of paper, and he just said, you know what, just give me wisdom and knowledge. He could have asked for anything, riches, finances, but he just said, give me wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah.
So from that, he was able to sort of take over from his father, David, and sort of rule the world. So people, when I tell people, I'm like, if you need anything, it's not finances a problem, it's the wisdom and knowledge. So just get the training done. Finances will come later.
Yeah.
So if you get your training done, and there's training courses everywhere, there's even free content online. So don't think finance is a barrier to entry. You're just telling yourself that. You're just procrastinating at the same time.
Yeah.
So just get the training and the knowledge down. Once you get that sorted, everything else will follow. Because Solomon knew that once he had the wisdom and the knowledge, everything else will follow. As a ruler, as a king, he'd get the finance, the riches, but he didn't ask for that straight away. God basically gave him a blank check, and he said, you know what, I want wisdom and knowledge. And God gave him that, and he was able to.
That's so good, because it reminds me, you know, when people win the lottery,
Yeah.
they lose the money.
Yeah.
Because they've been given the money, or they've won the money, but they haven't got the capacity to hold it, to manage it, to keep it, to invest it.
The number one thing is knowledge and understanding and training.
Yeah.
With that you can go a long way. Even if you don't have the money, you can find the money, you can leverage the knowledge and the training you have. If you have the money eventually and you have no training, have no understanding of money management, that could go and you're left with nothing. So if anything, what I took to myself is make sure you get the right training and the right knowledge, because that will never leave you.
And the thing is as well, if there's people watching this that are like 18, 19 years old, you know, you don't necessarily have to do what you did and go on advanced to get a mentor, pay thousands. You can just start reading books. Definitely. You know, just start doing something. Just what you focus on expands, doesn't it? And what you track. So if you think, how many books have I read this month?
Yeah.
You know, how many? Who am I hanging around with? What am I watching on TV? It can just be small steps to begin with, and then obviously, you know, like you did, if you get to the point where you're thinking, no, I want to do this full time, then fine, invest a bit more heavily. But what's your strongest reason then? What is it that gets you up in the morning?
It's that I'm actually doing something I enjoy now. So what's amazing is that I can work within my own schedule as well. So I can wake up whenever I need to, have my own meetings, manage my own sort of business at the same time. And because it's something it doesn't feel like work, I'm actually enjoying it. You actually wake up, you get to see these developments, you get to see this house, you actually walk through the whole process. You see when it's run down, then you see when it's renovated, then you see when it's rented to the housing association. And what's good about this is because you get these asylum seekers or these people that are struggling, and you're providing them with a brand new house. Right. And effectively, that's just amazing, because you're eventually giving these people a better place to live in. Yeah. And I just feel like it's just part of my purpose to sort of help these people out, put them in a nice place to live, basically. Yeah.
So basically, you love the process.
Love the process, yeah.
You love the process.
Love the renovation bit. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
It doesn't. And I'm getting paid a good amount, much more than when I was working at Lloyd's.
What does an average day look like for you?
Average day, so wake up, depends what sort of area I'm in terms of what I'm looking for. If I'm actively looking for investments right now, if I'm sort of managing projects. So first of all, I'd have a conversation with my builders, understand what's going on, understand what needs to be done, understand, because for this housing association specifically, there's targets that needs to be met in terms of the houses need to be delivered and the contract needs to be signed over. So it's making sure the workers are doing what they need to do. At the same time, actively looking for investments at the same time. At the same time, also trying to raise finance at the same time. So maybe going to my private investors, asking them potentially if they've...
You know what's good about what you've done though? Now, wanting to do developments, if you find some development opportunities, which of course you will, I bet you're already finding deals.
I do, yeah. I've got one I need to speak to you about anyway.
Yeah, okay, of course. But the thing is, it's going to be easier for you to raise finance because you've got a track record now.
Exactly, yeah.
You're making $3,000 to $5,000 a month. You've got a little portfolio. You've proven that you're full-time in property. You've proven that you know how to manage money, manage investments. So now trying to partner with people on bigger deals, it's going to be a dream.
Definitely, yeah.
Awesome. Final words of wisdom.
Final words of wisdom, I would say just go as hard as possible. If property is really something you want to do, go as hard as you want. If it's something you're 50% thinking about it, it's not going to work. You need to put 100% into it. You need to actually enjoy what you do at the same time, because it's not easy. There's times you'll get knocked back, but it's whether you're actually willing to actually do this. I mean, there's other things you can do. You can do crypto if you like, and different things. Well, property is a completely different game. You can lose a lot of money and you can make a lot of money. So just make sure it's definitely what you want to do and it's something that you're going to enjoy, because it's not a short-term game. I don't think you're going to get rich overnight. I think it's a long-term game. I think you've got to put all your time and all your effort. You have to sort of enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's what I definitely tell people.
I appreciate that, bro. Thanks for coming down.
No worries.
Big up, respect.